All right, everybody, welcome to the Velvet Bite Dark Shadows Halloween show. We will be live with you in a few minutes. So in the meantime, I hope you enjoy this little visual presentation, get you in the dark shadows mood before we come on. Remember, while you're waiting for us, give the show a thumbs up, add this to a playlist, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and leave some commentary. And don't forget to join the live chat and leave your comments of Dark Shadows, your memories, and why you love Dark Shadows, and get in on the conversation. Also, you can support this podcast, The Velvet Bite, by simply going over to my Substack. You can either subscribe for free, or you can be a paid subscriber, but whichever one you choose to help support the show, simply go to melissadonharris.substack.com. And of course, the website is melissadonharris.com for all of the links and information. We will see you in a few moments. All right, everybody, welcome to our Halloween special show on Dark Shadows. I have two big Dark Shadow fans here to help me navigate through this soap opera that was a gothic soap opera, innovative, ran from 1966 to, I believe, 1971. Dark Shadows, starring Jonathan Frid as the vampire Barnabas, and a slew of other cast members that we will go over. I have Walter Bosley and Todd Woods here. I will bring them in a moment, but before I do, remember to thumbs up. If you're watching this one, give us a thumbs up on the show, add it to a playlist, subscribe, and of course, go over to the Substack and subscribe there. We're going to have a cool article out next week about clowns and fear of clowns. I got one leveled up to come out. We're going to have a little stream in the morning. We're also going to be doing a Sunday stream on Aleister Crowley on this channel and Substack. So melissadonharris.substack.com. And remember, you can follow my guests over at the Walter Bosley channel on YouTube. Be sure to check out their amazing research. I think I'm going to be on there later in the week and next week or something like that. I'm not 100%, but it's some great shows and great research. Let's see who's in the chat. Oh, we got Jonacide, Mrs. Renee, Incognito. Hopefully a few more of you will stream in, and I hope you guys are ready and having a wonderful Halloween. As it were, you can see my background is very much... Here, let me turn this off. I'll show you. Trying to emulate that we are, of course, in the Collins Mansion in Collinsport. So let's not hold off too longer and bring Walter and Todd in, the biggest fans that I know of Dark Shadows. Welcome to the show.
Hey. Happy to be here.
Yes, indeed.
Walter has his Barnabas cane.
That's right. This is a gift from Todd a few years back.
Yeah.
Where did you get that?
They have like replicas on Amazon.
Wow.
It's really cool.
I wonder who has the originals. There must have been a few originals.
I bet it's the Curtis.
The Curtis daughters.
Girls.
Oh, Malia's with us.
Hey, Malia.
Hey, Malia.
What do you need?
Is Malia a Dark Shadows fan?
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
I've turned her on to it. We've been watching it every night for a few weeks now, right?
Did you want it like that?
Well, yeah, initially because it was just the back, and I thought if you came in and sat down, there would
You've got
be
a big
space.
black strip there. I think maybe that's what she's referring to.
That's what I'm like.
Oh, I
hey,
do?
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
It's all
I didn't know.
Walter now. Malia
I
saved
didn't
the
know.
day.
I'm like, what is going on here?
I'll catch hell for that later.
So, like, Dark Shadows is one of those strange shows that may have never been. You know, it kind of came out of obscurity and almost was never, almost shut down. I don't know if you guys want to start there and talk about what it is and where it came from. I'll let you guys can give your opinions on that.
Well, yeah. The funny, like, the thing about it is, like, there's, like, if you go on, like, Amazon or Netflix or Tubi and, like, wherever you watch it, there's Dark Shadows, the beginning. Like, that's pre-Barnabas. We'll call that PB. And then there's Dark Shadows with Barnabas, WB. Like Walter Bosley. And it's kind of funny. They basically, like, it's a gothic horror soap opera, but it didn't really start picking up until they stopped, like, kind of giving a crap and just doing whatever they wanted to do.
Well, it was ratings. The
ratings were bad.
Yeah, they were in ratings trouble, and they were told basically you're essentially going to be canceled. And so Curtis went to Art Wallace and said, what the hell? Let's just go all out. I have an idea. And that was when they decided to make the visiting cousin Barnabas into a vampire.
Yeah.
Everything went nuts after that.
And they had originally bring him on just to be a temporary villain, because they had these villains that were on and off, and the whole story centered around Victoria Winters. She was the governess. She comes over to Collinsport, and she's going to school the little boy, and it's a weird family with strange happenings and all this stuff. But it just kind of didn't have that punch. But once they bring Jonathan Frid on, and he was supposed to be a temporary character, something happens. He brings some kind of magic to the show.
Yeah. Yes. And like, he started off as a villain, and then they had to do the face turn, right? They had to make him a good guy. And in my opinion, I mean, I don't know if this is correct or not, but he may be the first, like, protagonist good guy vampire.
I think he is.
Halloween.
Yeah.
And they tried to, and it's interesting because they actually tried to, that's what they kind of tried to do with this last Dracula movie. Have you seen Dracula: A Love Tale?
I have.
They tried to make him more of a protagonistic character.
It was certainly a movie more about him rather than the book, where it's about the people who are vanquishing evil. That's for sure.
Yeah.
And then you had this, like, I didn't like those little gargoyle characters. They felt like too Harry Potter.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No, that got on my nerves.
The gargoyle. Wait.
Yeah, in Dracula: A Love Tale. We're not even on Dark Shadows now.
In the Dracula remake thing, yeah.
Well, I was just saying, Walter, like, we're talking about Barnabas becoming a good guy.
Yeah, he's usually known as the first protagonist vampire.
Sympathetic. And I was just saying they tried to do something like that in Dracula: A Love Tale. Like something not quite, but
ever since Barnabas, I mean, you have Anne Rice was inspired. Lewis is essentially inspired by Barnabas in that way, and another work that the vampire wasn't sympathetic, but the storyline was heavily influenced by Dark Shadows, was Stephen King's novel Salem's Lot. When you read that
Really?
novel, half of the novel, you go through about half of the novel, I think, before the word vampire even comes up, or and when you watch the season that Barnabas arrives, there's some of the same kinds of things. You've got the policeman, the doctor, and another character who are all working together and talking, wondering what's going on, what's this sickness that's hitting people, and then finally one of them says, "My gosh, I think it's a vampire." And then in Salem's Lot, which was published in '76, I think, it's much the same kind of plot line. So you can tell that King was somewhat influenced by Dark Shadows, and Rice definitely was. And any vampire you see that's sympathetic since then is
Well, go ahead,
Barnabas.
Todd.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and that this is, to be picked up later, is like one of the things I absolutely loved about Dark Shadows is, especially that initial Barnabas storyline where he is the villain, is like the way they blend different gothic horror stories together.
Yeah,
kind of, they're blending like basically Dracula and like the Mummy together, and it works so well.
Oh yeah. Some of the boring ones though were when they go like the Jane Eyre stuff. That's like
Well, what I found interesting is when they first bring him on, if you watch those earlier things, he's quite nasty. He's really abusive to that Willie. Like, he's a narcissist, he's a psychopath, and I don't think, and then people are watching him, the ratings go up, and they have to do a switch. They do that time travel, which is one of my favorites. They time travel back and show him before he was a vampire and how he got cursed, which makes you sympathetic to him. And now when you come back, he's a vampire who's in love, who wants not to be a vampire. That's kind of how they were like, oh, he's got to be the good guy because we can't get rid of him because he's a ratings like king.
Yeah.
Right.
The subtext of the Barnabas Willie association relationship is basically that's an abusive homosexual relationship. That
it
was
looks like it, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That was, as I was watching it, because I had watched the whole series, most of it when I was a little kid. I was 4, 5, and 6 years old when my babysitters would watch this, and I'd be watching it. And so then I watched it again, all 1,200 and some odd episodes. There's a discrepancy between, is it 1225 or 1245, and there's a reason that gets explained when you get into the weeds, the inside baseball of Dark Shadows. But anyway, when I watched it all again, that's what struck me about that whole Barnabas Willie thing was, oh my God, they're doing a subtextual commentary on an abusive homosexual relationship here. It's like, oh. And you're right. I think they had to recapture the audience.
Yeah.
And so they made Barnabas fall in love with Josette.
I wonder if that was conscious or unconscious script writing with his, because I always assumed they were trying to reenact like a Renfield kind of thing, but he was particularly vicious with his cane.
What do you think Dracula and Renfield was?
Yeah. And that never clued into me.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Right, if we're going into Renfield, man, I don't know. It doesn't get much better than Tom Waits and Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Oh, he was excellent. Yeah. He was excellent. Stephen King in his excellent book-length essay exploration of horror literature and film and stuff. He talks about Stoker's Dracula and how racy that, for the time, the people back then got it. They totally got the sexuality of the original Dracula story, and he makes some funny comments about when Harker experiences Dracula's wives, these were not the kind of girls that good Victorian gentlemen brought home to mother.
Right. It's funny. Before the show started, Melissa and I were just talking, and like I was telling her that Dracula might win the Polygamist of the Year award
for having 3 brides.
Yeah,
3, 4, 5,
however many he needs.
Yeah,
he needs. They're really disciples. They're not really brides.
Well, he's really just getting married for the gifts, like I was saying.
He's like, I need the dowry.
He just needs
I need
another
a- I need
toaster.
I need to do some castle renovations and a new coffin.
Yeah,
Well,
Bed
let's not
Bath and
forget
Beyond
that.
gift cards.
Yeah, let's not forget that these, before he turns them into vampires, they were probably fine, upstanding Victorian ladies. So they insisted on being married. So that's probably another
There you
factor
go.
that went in there.
Well,
But yeah,
so essentially Dark Shadows becomes like it's like all the characters now really revolve around Barnabas Collins and in their relationships to him. And so it's not only that he gets introduced, he almost all the characters now that were on there before, they're almost like
Secondary.
you get they're secondary, but they almost have to reform themselves and who their characters are. Like they switch a lot.
Yeah.
Like yeah, they just switch. They don't dominate, and it becomes him either trying to become more human or him trying to manipulate them. I didn't like Grayson Hall's Dr. Hoffman's character at first because she was really manipulative, but I grew to absolutely love her as I
oh
watched
yeah,
the show because she's fantastic. But I thought because she was always trying to foil him getting with Vicky, and I was like, hey, you bitch, back off. But then I was like, no, she's actually a really good character. She actually is probably the only one who really does care.
Right. Well, no, the interesting thing I heard was from the guy who was working on trying to create a new Dark Shadows series for WB. Is like his take was that Barnabas was a vampire who was trying to be more human, and Julia Hoffman was a human who was trying to become more monstrous. To meet in the middle,
Right.
and she's like in love with Barnabas.
And he was also her scientific experiment.
Yeah.
She's weird. She's like this doctor that does everything.
Yeah, she's a cross between Dr. Frankenstein and Van Helsing. And like it's almost like what the show became at a certain point when you get into like the sort of the 1897 storyline and stuff like that. It almost feels like Sherlock Holmes in a way, where like Barnabas is a vampire Sherlock Holmes and Julia Hoffman is Watson.
Yeah.
And then you bring in I thought that they should have done a lot more, and they should have done a film, and I got more to say on that. Some information I learned recently about Dark Shadows, but I always thought they missed the boat. The second film should have featured Barnabas and Quentin, Dr. Stokes, and Julia as the core four protagonists. That would have been, I mean, one heck of because it would have been a bit of Holmes. It would have been Van Helsing.
Yeah.
It would have been, kind of a cool little
Dorian
monster
Gray
thing going on.
Yeah.
There. What's that? Yeah.
Quentin's Dorian Gray.
Yeah.
And the thing about Professor Stokes is that like the sad thing about that is like they don't even bring him into like the inner circle until like the very end of the show.
Yeah. Yeah, when they're getting we just entered the arc, the Leviathan's arc.
Oh, I love that one.
And I'm enjoying the hell out of that. That's very Robert E. Howard.
For people who are just tuning in, there is what's called storylines. So there's about 20 different storylines over the 6 years. And so you've got things like the introduction of Victoria Winters, the murder of Bill Mallow. It's not until about episode 205 that they introduce Barnabas, and then the search for Barnabas's cure. Like there's all these major storylines, and they do time traveling back and forth, and you're in the Leviathans. I always thought that was weird. That's like episode 886. I always thought that was odd one. It felt weird.
Well, it's because it's a little different where like you have gothic horror for like the majority of the show's storylines. You have H.P. Lovecraft for the Leviathan storylines.
It's really actually just to split hairs. To me, I realized last night, I go, it's a lot more Robert E. Howard in his weird horror phase. Because remember, Howard and Lovecraft were good friends, correspondents, and they shared the Cthulhu universe and things like that.
Right.
So it's very Howard-esque.
The thing I really liked about the Leviathan storyline is the cult. It wasn't like your your sort of satanic cult, like like with the hooded robes and stuff like that. It was like a corporate. It's like a big corporation type of deal, and that I thought that was just so unique for the time. You know?
Oh, of course,
Well,
and
no, go ahead, Walter.
oh no, I was just going to say that there you can see a lot of influences on things, movies, and shows that came after Dark Shadows, not just the ones we mentioned before. But go ahead with what you were saying. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's good. I was just going to say that for many people, I was surprised because I didn't watch at time. I wasn't even alive when it came out. But I'm seeing stuff in the occultism, and I thought, I bet you that's the first time people are seeing things like the I Ching and all this stuff used as time travel devices. Like they're like, what's the I Ching? And I'm sure it got people into saying, hey, what's this occult stuff about? Like, what's going on here?
Right.
Well, the I Ching is one of the things that my mentor told me to learn and use. So when I went back and watched the series again, because I had seen it when I was a little kid, um, I didn't remember details like that. So when I saw in 2018 when I was watching the series all over again, they're using the I Ching for time travel. I'm loving this.
Right.
Also, I mean, yeah. As far as time travel goes, the interesting thing, I think Doctor Who may have done it first, but I think Dark Shadows may have been the first to do parallel timelines. I could be wrong about that, though. Like, they could have been like Twilight Zone or something,
Well, I think as far as like an ongoing series,
yeah,
you're probably right about that. But you were talking about the cult and Leviathans.
Mm-hmm.
It's also, you talk about it being corporate. What thought popped into my head was the Charlton Heston Omega Man film, where Matthias and the family, they're all pale and they're all wearing the robes, but they're a little bit more, fanatic.
Also, for you conspiracy theorists out there, I believe it was John Hobbes who referred to the state as the Leviathan.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe there was some inspiration taken there, like they were reaching in a bunch of different directions, like the writers.
Yeah, it's like a metaphor for maybe a system coming into Collinsport and manipulating them, but they show it as Leviathan rather than some corporate entity.
Yeah, like perhaps a special interest political organization coming in and taking over, and oh wait, never mind. That has nothing to do with Dark Shadows.
Or maybe like you're in a small town and you have a little mom and pop's coffee shop, and then all of a sudden Starbucks moves in.
Yeah, exactly. Or you got a little mom and pop video store, and here comes Blockbuster.
I swear to God, that little Leviathan kid looked like a barista, though, for sure.
Oh, that's like one of the worst gangs in American history. The baristas.
Well, you talk about the occult stuff, and it's the first time a lot of the audience, I think mostly just Americans. I don't know if it aired while in its original run, if it was airing in the UK or anything like that, but most Americans, it probably was their first exposure to this stuff. And one of the things I've learned recently is that there was a huge letter huge 800 letters or something they got from parents who were clutching their pearls over what their little children. Funny how in America how quickly 17-year-olds become little children, when the parents are clutching their pearls over something. And they were, because this was getting popular with teenagers. High school kids were racing home to catch Dark Shadows, and when the parents finally watched it, it did kind of freak them out, because there's seances, there's witchcraft and all this stuff, and the violence, and this. Some sources were saying that was a contributing factor to why the show ended. And others have said for years, well, the ratings were falling off, and the Leviathan's arc kind of, people didn't like that. And what I've learned recently is that that's not true. The Leviathan's arc was getting strong ratings. What happened, here's the latest that I learned, is that Jonathan Frid did not want to be Barnabas in the second Dark Shadows movie, Night of Dark Shadows.
That's right.
That pissed off Dan Curtis, apparently. So they had
a big ego.
Yeah, they had a little pissing contest between them. And Curtis said, well, if you don't want to play Barnabas in the movie, there's no reason why we should make you play him on the series. And he decided, that's it, we'll end it. But it was still getting definitely strong enough ratings to continue. So some people say that maybe Curtis just wanted to do something else. I don't know, but it's too bad that it kind of like the way Mannix ended, where it was really, again, just a pissing contest between two executives, and this whole thing that's cool, gets flushed because egos.
I've heard a lot of people say, oh, it was a boomer show, but I don't think a lot of people realized how popular it was. And I'm gonna play this clip of Jonathan Frid. They had to do a lot of guest spots, and people, like, this wasn't just like it was just popular. People were literally standing outside the studio in New York City, like hordes of them, waiting for these actors to see them and coming down there and getting pictures with them. It was a different time, but I mean, it was a massive phenomenon, and I don't think
the women
today realize how big.
Racy letters.
Yes, that's right. So I'm gonna play this. I think this is a clip from What's My Line, where he has to appear as Barnabas.
That very special part of What's My Line, the time we meet our mystery guest. So, panel, are the blindfolds in place?
Yes.
All right, mystery challenger, would you enter and sign in, please?
They're screaming. Well, this is good. I haven't seen this.
All right, panel, may I remind you, it is one question at a time. I'll give you 2 minutes to try and establish the identity of our mystery guest, and we'll begin the questioning with Arlene Francis.
I never heard such a happy audience. And it sounded like a lot of young voices. Are you particularly appealing to the young?
Yes.
Soupy.
Did your fame come from your appearances on television? Yes.
Joanna.
I don't know. Are there more than one of you up there?
No.
Sandy.
Do you also make records?
You worked on a movie with him, Sandy Barrett.
Arlene.
But
I think we established primarily television. Arlene.
This television performance that you give, do you give it every week?
Not exactly.
Well, let me say that while this particular performance may not be every week, it is certainly a part of something which is at least every week. Soupy.
Huh?
Something that... Are you in any way connected with in a world of sports?
No. Joanna.
Do you have a mustache?
No.
Sandy.
Are you a leading man? Yes.
Arlene.
Are you, when you are on television, are you on in the evening?
No.
Panel, does anyone have a guess?
It's something with children show, I'll bet.
Mr. Rogers? From
Take off your
Sesame Street?
blindfolds and meet Jonathan Frid.
Mr. Rogers!
Okay. Either like Sandy Barrett.
Listen, I just want you to know that the other day Jonathan put the bite on me for a couple of bucks.
But you're not what you were saying when you said not every week.
Well, I was being a little difficult there. Yes, I'm on probably at least once a week. But it's not a weekly show. It's a daily show.
Of course, we're talking about television's dark shadows. And how do you like being a vampire?
Well, I know which side my bread is buttered on, so I'll bite any time they want me to. But I take it very seriously. I play a role that's much more than just a vampire, but it helps a lot to be something extraordinary, I suppose, like that.
Yes.
But now, this is so many times you see movies that are made and end up, going on television as features. But this, I don't know really too many other television programs that now are becoming a movie, and you're working on a movie, aren't you?
Yes, it's certainly the first soap opera that's ever been made into a movie. And we're going to be doing it on location up in Tarrytown, and we're starting very soon, and it should be released sometime during the summer. And it's going to be a lot of fun.
Will you have the same cast in the movie?
Yes, that's the marvelous thing. I mean, to star in your first movie, and you've never met a movie before, at least there were a lot of familiar faces up on location the other day, and so it made it and you have the role that you already know.
What will the name be of the movie?
Dark Shadows.
Dark Shadows. Oh, we'll look forward.
All right, House of Dark Shadows. I mean, those are so cool. Those old TV shows, I watch them all the time. I wasn't even born then, and I love them.
Yeah.
I was alive. Okay, one of the panelists, Sandy Barron, the one guy sitting between the two ladies, I worked on a film that he was in.
Really?
In the 80s, and it was a vampire movie. It's this movie titled Vamp, and I was a production assistant, and Sandy Barron plays the MC manager of the strip club that the vampires work in. Sandy Barron, that guy. I mean,
I didn't know you worked as production in movies.
Oh yeah, I was
Walter, I had no idea.
On Vamp, on Vamp, and on the Diet Coke commercials with Tawny Welch, who was in Cocoon, and Willard Scott and Whitney Houston. She was coming out, worked on those commercials, and I did that briefly because I wanted to be a writer. I wanted to do other things, and when you're a production assistant, you're kind of the really lowest man on the totem pole. And I said, I don't want to do this for a number of years, so I stopped doing it. But that's so funny in that clip that Sandy Barron, who most of the people hear, who the hell's that? Character actor.
6 degrees of separation here.
Yeah, so
6 degrees. No, go ahead, Todd.
I was just wondering, and I may be remembering this wrong, but the old Batman show that there'd always be that part in an episode where him and Robin be climbing up the
and the celebrity
right. Am I remembering that right? Did Barnabas ever pop his head out of one of those windows?
I wonder. That would have been cool. That would have been really cool. We got to look that up.
It may have just been somebody with a similar type of speaking voice.
Huh. That would have been cool, because certainly.
Did John Connor in the audience says, I love Vamp, an amazing film featuring Grace Jones as Katrina. So you met Grace Jones?
Briefly. I mostly worked on the stuff that Sandy was in. Oh, by the way, interesting thing. It was filmed at the strip club scene. The club was filmed at the old Desilu Studios, and the set they used was Hallowed Ground, people. Hallowed Ground, when I learned that was the actual studio space used for the bridge set of the Enterprise original series. It was Hallowed Ground. Shatner, Kirk walked those same floors. But I worked the nights, couple of nights that they were doing that in Desilu, and then I worked on the location stuff. I mostly worked around Chris Makepeace and the great Japanese character actor. He's so funny. He was in 16 Candles. He's in that, plays this nerdy rich guy. And so yeah, I didn't get to work around Grace.
So
it's cool.
I had quickly mentioned Grayson Hall as Dr. Julia Hoffman. What are some of the other characters besides Barnabas that were your favorites? Like, I always liked the guy who played Count Patafi too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that guy.
Was my second favorite.
Oh yeah. Quentin, if there's anybody to ravel all the letters that Barnabas got, is Quentin. Quentin got a crap ton of banana nut bread.
All my cousins,
Oh.
I recall my sisters, but my cousins, female cousins, were all in love with Quentin. I remember that.
And again, he was introduced as like this ghost that was in a part of the manor that was pretty malicious and pretty vindictive and wanted to destroy the family.
Well, you know, that was the what they were doing there is they were it was a cross between the story The Turn of the Screw, which is an old gothic horror short story, and The Wolfman. Yeah,
that's right.
What a hybrid.
It's a hybrid between the two. That's what made the show so great for me. I loved the way they mixed that stuff.
Another character that I really enjoyed was Evan Handley, and when he played the devil character that tormented Angelique. That actor was awesome.
Evan Handley, was he like the occultist?
He was the occultist lawyer.
And he's a warlock.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a warlock.
Yes.
Nicholas something.
Nicholas Blair.
Nicholas Blair,
Nicholas Blair, yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? If they were to make funny enough, like the perfect person, if they were to make a modernized version of Dark Shadows today, the perfect person to play Nicholas Blair, in my opinion, is whoever they got to play G. Gordon Liddy in White House Plumbers, the HBO Max show. If you haven't seen it, definitely check.
I haven't seen that.
Like that cat, that's the guy I would have played Nicholas Blair. Also,
Malia, go ahead.
Oh, you go first.
I was just going to say, Malia and I get constant laughs out of Roger, Edward. You know, every character that Louis Edmonds plays.
Yeah,
you know, it's always the same character. But you know, the brandy and what amazes us. Malia was laughing about this when we pointed it out. It's he's dealt with. He knows that Barnabas was a vampire. He was involved with driving a stake in his heart, and and stuff. But yet he can't buy that. Somebody was possessed or whatever. It's like he sees one supernatural thing, but he's denying when somebody else is telling him about another thing. It's like, wait a minute. Once you see a vampire, all bets are off. Everything's possible, right? But no, not Edward, not Roger.
Right. Well, another interesting thing is David Collins. Like David Collins, in my opinion, might be a psychopath. There are little parts in that show that really makes you have to ask the question, like, there is something terribly wrong with this kid. Like when they kidnapped Maggie and like
he was like this psycho spoiled brat who was like, yeah, get rid of her.
Well, no, they kidnapped Maggie and she's like, she escapes and like she's like terrified, and there's just like David as calm as like a cucumber.
There he is.
That's Nicholas Blair.
It's like,
that's the witchcrafty, warlock guy.
What I love are the actors. You know, there were several really good actors on that show. People don't realize it. He was one of them, and I love how, like Fred, said he played it straight. That's really what contributed to Dark Shadows was these actors. They played it straight. They didn't like, today there'd be a bunch of smirking and but they played it straight, and it worked.
I think that's what made the movie remake that they did. I think that's where they failed. They bring in the outside world with the music, and then they played it comical. And I'm like, no, that's not Dark Shadows. It's its own world. You can't bring the other world into it, and you have to play it straight.
On a lot of I follow a couple of the serious Dark Shadows fans pages and channels and stuff like that. They hate that movie.
Yeah,
it's one of the hosts says it's the film which shall not be named. They all hate that movie, and the guy, from what I recall, the guy who's part of wanting to bring the show back, he particularly despises that film.
Yeah, that we're talking about the Tim Burton film, by the way, not the film that they made with Jonathan Frid.
They turned it into a joke.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like Dark Shadows. And when Johnny Depp, one of the first things he said was, "Well, I never really watched that show." Well, that's it.
I
Now-
thought he was a big fan. That's why he wanted to do it. That's really
He
weird.
said he was a big fan, but he said this weird contradictory statement that he never really watched it that much, but he was a big fan, and the real fans point that out incessantly.
Right. Now, man, can I back to the actors and stuff like that? I would feel so bad if I didn't mention her. Now, the person I was the most impressed by watching the whole show, like binge watching it during COVID and the lockdowns and all that, was Nancy Barrett. When they go to 1995 and she's playing the PTSD stricken like crazy woman, that acting performance was phenomenal. Absolutely.
Nancy Barrett plays for anyone who's listening, she is the daughter of Carolyn Stoddard, who is basically the mistress of the house who owns all the property. She's the daughter, the blonde, pretty girl.
Yeah.
But what we should remind people, just in case they're tuning in, you're like time traveling, the actors in the original storyline, when they time travel, they get the same actors to play different characters, and it's kind of a trick with in an unspoken language between you and the audience.
Mm-hmm. And as far as the time travel thing goes, so one of the podcasts I listen to is about Dark Shadows, and the host, her name is Penny Dreadful. She has this awesome theory about because the show was basically shot on the fly, so there's mistakes in the show. So but her theory is that because they time traveled so much, that's what created the mistakes and the non-continuity stuff. Like, for instance, they go to 1995, and then later when they come back and Barnabas reports to Stokes, he's like 1997, then he changes it to 1999. It's because the timeline's all messed up.
Exactly. Yeah. And the objects are slightly out of place. So when they walk into something, that wall wasn't exactly there. And the other
right. So it's like no guarantee they're actually in the timeline they started out in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is kind of creepy.
Yeah. It's like hidden within the show. It makes it much more enjoyable.
Yeah, I'm going to pop up Nancy Barrett's images. She played Carolyn Stoddard. I'm going to pop it up so everybody knows what we're talking about.
She was actually really respected stage actors. Oh, I was going to say anybody, Todd, you're talking about people flubbing their lines or bumping into props or knocking things over.
Yeah.
I don't know. I was a theater kid in high school too. I was among the nerdy filmmakers, but I was in theater, and every former theater kid I know loves the original Dark Shadows series because all those flubs, the set bumping into the set walls and stuff, it just reminds you of high school theater in that regard, so it's kind of endearing.
Well, that's one of the elements about it that people don't realize is because it's the thing that works with Dark Shadows is it's its own world.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a magical world, but it's also like watching a Shakespearean play. And Jonathan Frid and he really bring that to it because he was a trained thespian, but the other actors, like you said, were trained for the stage as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so you feel like you're watching a play on TV, but it's its own creepy little world, and they're pulling from all of these great Gothic storylines.
Yeah,
Malia was saying this the other night, and she just commented. She says her favorite mistake is Angelique running into a tombstone and knocking it over.
Yeah,
and then she turns around to set it back up.
Well, one of the things I like is they in one of the episodes during the 1897 saga, it looks like there's two Barnabases. There's Barnabas in the scene.
Can I ask what that sound is in the background?
Not me.
Yeah, there's something.
I'm hearing something ringing.
Yeah.
It's here at my place, but I don't know what it is to turn it off. Malia, if you're out there, help. Sorry, guys. While I'm waiting for her to show up and... Oh.
There he goes.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so basically, you know how the exit credits roll and you still see the the last little set, like the staircase and everything like that. So you see Barnabas in the last scene, but then you see the credits roll, and it's a mistake. You see Barnabas walk through that room, so it kind of like, oh, how is he in two places at the same time, kind of deal.
Tell him I'm in the middle of the show.
It lends to the theory of like the distorted timeline and the broken timeline theory that Penny Dreadful has.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to risk getting a copyright and play some of the bloopers because it's like we were talking about stage and theater. I just want to give people who've never seen it, you can go check it on YouTube. I'll just play a few seconds. We can do some commentary, but they would shoot it straight. They never thought it was going to be replayed in Syndicate or anything. Like they didn't even have that concept. And so when they would make a mistake, they'd just have to keep going like they were on stage. And so bloopers galore. And of course the special effects, it's the 1960s. So we're not looking at, the greatest. So here we go. A few seconds of bloopers.
Depart from her, ye cursed demons, into the everlasting fire which burns all evil and leaves only the ashes of what goods ye once possessed. Devils be humbled, shrink in fear at the dark night you must shortly see.
Okay, I'm going to pause it because he's another great actor, Jerry Lacey.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What a villain. He's amazing.
Oh,
amazing.
Man. Yeah.
That was funny. Okay, here we go. Here's another one.
I expect you wonder what I'm doing here, right?
No, I'm glad you're here.
It's like, I'm glad you're here. Oh, phone. Okay, here we go. Another one.
Any company?
Yeah, sure, I was drunk. And everything about that night is hazy. But, well...
You didn't run away from something that you knew you'd done. You see...
Drunk or sober, I would never run away from anything, and you must believe that, Mrs. Johnson.
That guy was actually an alcoholic, so he probably really did forget his line.
He had a lengthy career. I mean, he was on a lot of stuff through the decades.
I think he cleaned up. But I think he was having a little bit of an issue during the show. Here we go.
Yes, I can.
With this.
Barnabas.
You know what to do, Vicky. You know what to do now, Julia. Go, please, hurry.
Well, stay here, Dr. Hoffman.
You do not touch Julia.
Nicholas Blair.
No, that's
Harry,
not
you
Nicholas.
must tell me what you want.
Well, I haven't got time enough. Where is Cyrus?
He left earlier this evening.
Oh, no. Okay, I'll pause it so we can comment.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that
Who
was
is that?
A character later who an actor played. It was kind of a Jekyll and Hyde arc.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
I thought
yeah.
Yeah, that was my mistake. His face like trying to hang it up over and over. But this is like, I mean, what stress though? Like so much stress as an actor that you have to get it right and keep going, and you can't do takes and edits.
Stop it! I'll call the police! Look what you're doing!
You aligned yourself with the devil himself.
Don't you ever talk to me that way again.
Be back in a few minutes.
He gags her and the gag falls off. And they just have to keep going. This is Kate Jackson, by the way. This is where she first got her start before Charlie's Angels.
Yeah.
Most people don't know that.
Yeah.
Well, before even that show she was on called The Rookies, where she plays one of the cops' wife.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, her first break.
I'll just keep going here.
I'll be back.
Fighting the thing.
Oh, a long, long time ago.
When you were 6, something happened, didn't it? David told me that.
Yes, he did. No, sir, that some people think that David ought to be put away for treatment.
Oh, this guy.
Julia.
He's recording.
Julia. If you do the experiment.
You collect weapons by any chance?
No, I don't. Mr. Collins, are you quite sure Mrs. Stoddard will be down shortly? I'd like to see Mrs. Todd if she's here.
Oh my
She is planning to open up the West.
Those are just a few of them. I don't want to play too much more, but that's like literally a common occurrence on that show.
Oh,
all
yeah.
the bloopers.
Yeah. You know, speaking of the actors and actresses, Denise Nickerson. How many of you know who
Yeah.
she was? Denise
She
Nickerson.
played on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yes, she did.
She was
Violet
Amy.
Beauregard.
Yeah.
She was Amy in Dark Shadows, and I
And
remind
she
Malia that
was
every
also
time.
wasn't
Tries to
she
say
Barnabas's Sarah? She was Sarah. Barnabas.
No, she wasn't
No.
Sarah. That was a different actress.
No, she was
That's a different
Amy.
actress. Amy.
She was Amy
Yeah.
and one of the other characters in Back in Time. But yeah, Denise Nickerson. She passed away recently, just a few years ago.
Oh.
And yeah, it's just that show. The cast was really awesome. They were, playing it straight in spite of the the flub ups and how funny those were. You mentioned Jerry Lacey. He was in an independent film that's I think still running on Amazon or Netflix now. Kind of a weird. I think he's playing a detective in that because he started out as a detective on Dark Shadows, if you remember.
Yeah.
He did.
I think he was dating. Was he dating Carolyn or Vicky? Anyway,
I'm not sure, but he
I
made
always-
one heck of a villain.
Yes.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Particularly when he was Reverend Trask. But
Oh my God.
another thing I think they missed that would have been really cool. You remember what happened to Burke Devlin, right?
Yes.
He goes on the business trip to South America, and they're listening to the radio or whatever as the plane crashes in the jungle, and that's the end of Burke Devlin. Now, I always thought, since 2018, watching again, I've thought that when the Leviathans arc started, Burke Devlin should have returned as kind of a jungle explorer, Count of Monte Cristo type of character. Where when the plane crashed, you find out he survived. He ended up in the city that Colonel Fawcett disappeared into, and he becomes this wise, guy who knows all about the secrets of the ancient world. I thought that would have been a totally cool thing to bring him back.
It seems like they just wanted to get rid of him so he wouldn't marry Vicky, so they could play out this Vicky Barnabas arc.
Right.
Yeah.
Because people were right into that Barnabas wanted to get with Vicky. But remember, we haven't even mentioned the first main story arc, which is that when Barnabas gets cursed, his beloved Josette runs and jumps off the cliff, and
Widow's
so he's
Hill.
always looking for his Josette.
Maggie.
And he's Maggie or Victoria, whoever it is, but it becomes Maggie. He's always looking for this woman to be his Josette, which is kind of psychotic, but that's the major arc. That's usually the major arc in any of the films as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's obsessed. He's a stalker, essentially. Right. Barnabas is of Maggie through the whole thing. The kidnapping her. Remember that?
Right. He kind of gets over it though by the parallel time saga. He's like a little bit over it, it seems.
Yeah, but in the one that we were watching, the 1897 one or 1840, Malia was just watching this episode the other night. He asks when she's Kitty Soames, right? Reincarnation of Josette. He asks her to marry him, I think.
Yeah.
And so it's still a little bit there, but that actress was Catherine. I can't think of her name now, last name, she was my favorite actress on there. In the first couple of seasons that she was appearing on Dark Shadows, she was moonlighting as a cocktail waitress at the New York Playboy Club.
Oh.
Yeah.
In the little bunny outfit like they
Yeah,
used to have.
I think the actress who's playing Maggie as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Is Maggie.
Oh, that's who you're talking about. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Yeah, she was, because there is a picture of her. Okay, that's who you're talking about. Well, it's interesting because that's where Angelique, another favorite character of many people, comes in, because she's the one who cursed Barnabas, who made his Josette kill herself, and she is just as crazy. She is stalking Barnabas all throughout eternity, trying to make him love her because he loved Josette.
Right.
It's another, like, there's all these weird soap opera triangles,
Right.
but it's like gothic vampire style.
I actually had an idea for a Dark Shadows spin starring Angelique, where it's basically like she figures out that she has to love herself before she can love somebody else. And so what happens is she gets into like a self-help, like a 12-step program.
12 step for crazy stalker girl borderlines.
Well, she is, because she's a witch, right?
Yeah.
And so like she has to like, she should like basically she's pretending to be like a narcotics addict, but she's really addicted to using her magic, witchcraft. Yeah.
Yeah, she gets a high from cursing people into vampires. And
Right. And the more you use it, the more evil you get, or something like that. And so it's basically.
She's
from Knoxville.
Oh, she is?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I found Angelique's character to be really annoying when she first appeared, but eventually she grew on me. And I think as they kind of softened the crazy ex-girlfriend angle, and they let her develop a little bit more, because Laura Parker was pretty good actress,
Oh, I called her Laura Swift. Sorry, Laura Parker. Yeah.
Yeah, her character was just so neurotic. She was like, and I was just like, whoa, yeah, no wonder he doesn't want to get with you, lady. Like, you're scaring everyone. You are like, how many times does one have to say no before you get it?
Yeah, exactly. Then there's poor Julia, as we said before, the greatest unrequited love story of all time, right?
Yeah, and she's another great actress that died way too soon.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's
Grayson
true. And her
Hall.
husband was one of the writers of the show.
Right.
As I watched that again in 2018 for the first time since I was a little kid, I realized, wow, Dan Curtis and the main writers of this show, they really are into the things that a bunch of us talk about on our shows.
Yeah.
Like lost civilizations and monsters and time travel. I think that's why it just really I got into it again, watching it, and liked it even more than I remembered as a kid, because wow, I'm into all this stuff. And I asked Malia last night, I said, do you think that I love the show because it's about all the stuff I'm interested in, or do you think I'm interested in all this stuff because I watched that as a little kid and
it was your primer. It was your primer.
Yeah.
Well, that
and there's something to it.
What's interesting about Julia and Angelique is by the I guess it by the 1897 storyline when they're facing off against like Patafi. They Julia and Angelique, they actually kind of got along with each other pretty well.
Yeah. Oh yeah. After a while, Angelique cooled her jets a little bit. And remember the character that she played in that one arc, she was married. Remember, she was married to that guy.
Right.
Sky something, right?
Was that when she was a brunette? Like, they made her at one point wear this really bad brunette wig
that was right after the 1795 storyline where she was going to marry Roger.
Yeah, that's right. She was going to marry Roger.
That's it. They made her a brunette. She's like kind of like.
Isn't that the hilarious irony?
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody believe that Roger fathered a child? Come on.
No.
That's but so I know we were talking about how influenced it, a lot of storylines, the first empathetic vampire, and the love triangle, but you can totally see it. Like, whether people know or not that they're writing these movies, you can see it because Dan Curtis did his form of Dracula that had that. You have the Gary Oldman Dracula, you have this Dracula love tale, you have Frank Langella's Dracula. I mean, this series inspired this Dracula like a lover in a way that the other movies had not, especially not a Christopher Lee movie.
Angel
It's
and
just
Buffy.
everywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like this idea that that's the problem with women. They feel like they can go in and save him.
Yeah.
That's women's problem. They try to save everybody.
Yeah,
It's right there.
You talk about what it influenced, and obviously what they were into, what influenced them. Of course, there's Lovecraft. In fact, the Petofi Quentin storyline, where Petofi switches bodies, right? Where for a while Petofi's
Right.
inside Quentin and vice versa. Well, that plot's right out of a Lovecraft story that he was inspired to write after seeing a 1934 film titled Berkeley Square, in which a man from the 1930s finds himself back in time in the body of an ancestor. And then that ancestor's body, they never go into it or show it, but the ancestor's mind goes into the descendant, in the future. And of course, it helps that they look exactly alike. And Leslie Howard played the main character. That was H.P. Lovecraft's favorite film, and he saw it multiple times. And then he ended up writing a couple of his stories about time travel, and he did that thing with the mind body swap. He was just obsessed with that, and it was a couple of years before he died. But the Leviathans, there's the Robert E. Howard influence, and of course all the classic literature plots that they lifted. So to me, it's no wonder they're being inspired by this great genre literature themselves. Well, no wonder that they influenced shows and movies and the writers that came after them, because their influences were so strong. And
it's classic archetypes.
It leaves.
Can we have a little talk about the set design?
Yes.
Because I love the freaking candles in this.
Yes.
Like the blue candles. There's something about the blue candles. I can't not look at the blue candles and go, I want those blue candles.
Have you tried finding something that's like, if not the same, but similar?
I've never seen quite the same blue. I'll have to be on the lookout for it.
I have. When I was little, back when the show was on, those blue candles were all the rage. My mom had a set of them. And the blue candles and that shade of green that you talk about the set design, not just in the furnishings and stuff, but in the costumes, particularly on the ladies, that shade of that light blue and that certain shade of green. I lived it. I'm telling you, I remember those colors were big back then. And those specific candles, my mom had the light blue ones. And then if you notice, at one point they kind of switched the color scheme to
I think what they said was they got actually those candles because they got a discount and got a whole bunch of them from whoever made them, and it became like they're probably, I don't know, they just became popular. Everybody wanted them. And also it's very much like a stage set.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna grab some pictures here for everybody. It's very much like a stage set where today we're like, okay, how could and that's the thing with today, everyone's like, how could everybody see that as like a mansion or anything? It's so simple, but it worked in those days.
Yeah, it's called imagination. Up until these days, they allowed the audience to. It's kind of like reading a book. You got to engage the imagination.
Yeah.
And They just need it to be gothic, you know? They
Yeah.
didn't need to have, like, CGI crazy sets. They just needed to have something that was gothic and old
Representative.
and gave that ambience. Yeah.
Hey
It was
guys, I'll be right back.
Yeah, go ahead.
The
Go ahead.
Sure. The series was, by the way, was taped in New York, in a studio in New York. A lot of people don't know that, because by that time a lot of stuff was being done in LA. But soap operas back then, many of them were still being done in New York.
Which I'm sure added a different feel. I'm trying
Yeah,
to
it was
look
a
for
different
pictures.
animal.
There's not a lot of pictures of the actual set, and I'm sure there's nothing left. I'm wondering if anybody has pieces of the set.
Oh, I'm sure they
Oh.
do. My gosh, I'm sure they do. We were just, you know, Dan Curtis's family, his daughters, probably have several pieces. Yeah, there's no way that that cast got away without taking something along, you know.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, and the stairs were iconic too.
right? Yeah. I mean, that was one of the
Mhm.
things I always remembered from childhood was, the stairs and then that long landing. So anytime I see a movie or another TV show that has anything similar to that, I think Dark Shadows. Like, oh, look, it's Collinwood.
Yeah,
That's why
and
the
it's
movie
just
was kind of. I wish the house they used in the movie, they would have kind of tried to replicate what you saw on TV, because it would have, been a little bit more of a
well,
touchstone.
the movie was also a lot more graphic
Yes.
than the TV show, and I know it's probably because they can be graphic, but
Yeah.
I think that's one thing that Jonathan Frid actually didn't like, is how
Mhm.
graphic the movie was, and from what I understand, Dan Curtis was like, "Well, this is different. It's not the same thing," and I'm like, I don't know if he, it was like, it's okay movie. The second movie they did is like, woo, way out there, like, I don't
Yeah,
know, it's weird.
I the second movie didn't do it for me. You could tell that it's something they threw together because Frid didn't want to do Barnabas. Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
so
there
they
you
have David Selby, who's Quentin as the main guy, and it didn't make any sense. There's just some scenes of the Gothic, some that I could find
You have to
picture
pretend it's
eventually.
in a parallel time.
Yes. Yeah, there you go. There you go. It's
Yeah.
one of those off arcs or whatever. Selby, by the way, is from Morgantown, West Virginia, I believe. Not
Yeah.
far from where my dad was from.
He's like Appalachia.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting. So when you're watching, because I didn't watch it till way later when I was older in Syndicate and then on Tubi and stuff like that. When you're watching it, I know you have a background in certain things, and you said you have like your mentor and stuff like that. Do you think this, like, I don't know, was like indicating to you, like, was it magical where you're not surprised the realm you've gone in and the research you've gone in? Maybe both of you
Um,
can answer
well,
that.
one of the things that my mentor told me when he first started working me. Now, remember, he was an uncle of mine. He was one of my mom's brothers, and
Mhm.
so he had been around me from childhood. Okay, and one of the things he told me, that why he said, I watched all three of you, you and your sisters, from childhood. And he says, you're the one that's curious. They're scared of certain things. He said, you're the
Mhm.
one who's curious about certain things. And it was because part of it was because I was interested in these arcane, scary kinds of things.
Mhm.
Um, was part of the reason he started working me, because he knew that I would be intrigued. I was intrigued. It scared the hell out of me. Don't get me wrong. I
But
was
it's in
my gosh,
compelling and fascinating too.
yeah, I was close to 40 before I watched The Exorcist all the way through. That's how much that movie freaked me out into adulthood. So, and it came out when I was a little kid. But as much as this stuff scared me, I can't resist it. It's that moth to the flame thing, because it is so intriguing. And like I said before, when I went back and revisited the series, I asked that same question. I'm like, my gosh, how much of this influenced, the direction I've gone intellectually and artistically, um, or do I like it because, I was inclined to embrace those things? I would say a little bit of both. Certainly, I had not remembered so much time travel being on the show before I watched it again from my childhood memory. I did not remember that part, that time travel was just this constant thing and device that they used, and you guys all know how obsessed I am with that.
Right.
And
I wonder if they're trying to tell us something, that the script writers are linked in with people and they're saying, yeah, we can time travel.
Well, what's interesting is I've talked about this, and I talk about it in my time travel guidebook about the writers in that era. And, I've talked about Jack Finney and Richard Matheson writing the two most influential time travel novels of our times, and their past military connections and things like that. And Malia's saying the necromancy in particular, is something, me being taught to do, and it was in that show. But, Dan Curtis, if I'm not mistaken, had a military background. He went on to make The Winds of War, which was Herman Wouk's big epic about World War II. And so, I don't know, was he in that little cabal of writers
That's interesting that he had a military background.
I could be wrong, but in fact, if somebody could Wikipedia
I'll
that
Google it.
or Google
I'll
that,
Google it.
because here's the thing: think about M.K. Often, which we've talked about at the CIA, and Gottlieb, and all those occult things that the CIA was digging into and experimenting with in the 60s, around the time that Dark Shadows was airing. I wonder, how much of that could have been influenced.
Okay. You want to know what I found? He had a military background, serving in the U.S. Naval Reserve from 1945 to 1947. He was a part of active duty forces after World War II. Through his career as a producer, director, writer, is what he is most known for. So he does have some military background.
Yeah, 45 through 47, right after the end of the war, first 2 years of the growing Cold War, and the early paperclip era, and the era in which the U.S. is starting to fool with MK Ultra. So how could it happen? Let's say it did influence Dark Shadows. How could this happen? Okay, here, I'll tell you exactly how it happens, because I was in the spook world. I'll tell you exactly how this happens. You get somebody whose agency, they're part of the MK Often program, and they're instructed by Gottlieb, the head guru there, the wizard. Okay, we need to start planting this stuff in the public consciousness. Okay, let's see how they react to it. Let's see how we can influence public perception of these things. So we want to get this on TV, for example. Okay, who knows who, whatever. Well, I know this Dan Curtis guy, whoever the agent is. He says, I know this Dan Curtis guy. Okay, go to Curtis and start, hanging out with him, talking with him, maybe drop some hints about, it'd be a good idea of a story, this, that, or the other. Or, ooh, what about this necromancy, or what about time travel,
Sort of get it into the culture's mind to make it more accepted.
Kind of a slow drip, and then Curtis goes to his writers, or and they start putting the stuff in there, not knowing. Now, they would not know that this would be done, that this friend or this associate was doing it at the behest of the CIA occult guru.
Because it's not like they're going to tell them.
Yeah, it's a lot easier to make something like that happen, I think, than people used to think. Now there's people in our community that go, yeah, absolutely, I could see that. But
well, the funny thing is, like, you're talking about MK Often and stuff. I just remember all those times Julia would hypnotize people.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And it's like it got really redundant after a bit.
She would hypnotize like, say, Vicky, and take her down to Barnabas's coffin and show her it, and then tell her to forget it. But whenever she would see him, she didn't know what it was because she forgot, but she had this horror, that's totally that.
we hear abductees, kind of relating, weird things like that. And that's just, I mean, think about it. While you were describing that, I'm thinking, I watch this, I'm enjoying it as I'm watching it. It's entertainment. But when you think about that objectively, that's kind of creepy. I'm going to hypnotize this young woman, and I'm going to take her into this basement and show her this undead guy in a coffin, and then I'm going to hypnotize her out of it. It's like, what the
Yeah,
hell?
I'm gonna pop up a clip kind of in a second. It's we're gonna get community copyrighted anyways. We might as well go for the gold. It's just uploading, but it's like it's not being hypnotized and seen, but it's a dream of it. Like the kids have a dream, and the little Sarah girl ghost is showing David what Barnabas really is in the dream.
Yeah.
And it's like it also alludes to, hey, you can have prophetic dreams. Dreams mean something. And that's, I don't know, I'm sure people thought that before. I mean, there's lots of cultures and religions that think that, but I don't think that would have been in a mainstream American, narrative that you talked about. It's just uploading. I'll show it in a second. But oh, that's so good, the hypnotizing thing. That's why I didn't like her. That's why I didn't like her at first. I thought, what a devious woman, hypnotizing people
Yeah.
and controlling their minds. I don't like that.
Yeah, and
Right,
she would over hypnotize people, and they'd
Yeah.
have breakdowns.
And Malia says, Dark Shadows is so scandalous. It's wonderful.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah. She was just, and she was, and then, I mean, she was always trying to get her way out of things, but my goodness, that's like, yeah. And then they forget, oh my God, it's totally MK.
Well, remember the crime that Barnabas got her to commit?
Yeah.
Murdering the doctor.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's called common criminality.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's this clip. I'll just let you guys check it out. Here we go.
David, that's called isn't it? See? Sarah! Let's get out of here quickly! No, this is who I came to find.
My little Sarah, you've come back. You've come back at last.
Sarah, look out! He'll get you, Sarah! Get away from him!
A great example of set design, but also this dream prophetic, like they're trying to show him something in his dream.
Yeah, I would have liked to know how big the studio was that they had to work with, because, as cheesy and stuff as it could be, they really had. I mean, you could see in some instances where there was overlap, where it's like, oh, this is actually, Charles Delaware Tate's place was clearly where Maggie and her father lived in the early seasons.
Yes.
Well, I tell you what, Charles Delaware Tate, the characters he played, all of them, just about all of them, I bet you had hypertension, because that guy was tense.
Roger Davis?
Yeah. For everything.
Oh,
he's still around. He's had tons of plastic surgery.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
Oh, yeah, I'll bet. Okay, here's an interesting thing that popped up the other night. I'm glad we talked about Tate, but I had an epiphany moment. You talk about, and Malia had asked, and you had asked, did any of this influence? Okay, those of you familiar with my time travel guidebook and the book that Todd and I wrote about the Baron Trump books, there's a guy named Charles Howard Johnson, who was the artist who illustrated the Baron Trump books back in the 1800s. And of course, he's at the center of the mystery of, who could have foreseen the whole Trump thing and what the Baron Trump of our times in real life looked like, because the drawings were remarkably exact to little Baron Trump of our times, and so forth. And those of you familiar with my books and me talking about this, know this. Well, then I'm watching this show that's full of time travel, and there's this character, Charles Delaware Tate, and he's an artist, and he creates tulpas with his art, and it's time travel, and I had a ding 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 moment where I'm like, Charles Howard Johnson, Charles Delaware Tate, and I said to Malia, oh my God, I wonder if Curtis and Art Wallace and the writers were onto this Charles Howard Johnson mystery, and the guy in my book who was one of the writers of Outer Limits and Twilight Zone and stuff. Oh gosh, I'm doing a brain dump on his name. I talk about him in the book, but I wonder if they were aware of this same mystery with Charles Howard Johnson and time and all of this. So, that's something I got to dig into, but it just kind of jumped out at me the other night during the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Roger Davis ended up, he was married to Jacqueline Smith from Charlie's Angels for a while, who was, of course, on Charlie's Angels with Kate Jackson. But also, he was the voice narrator for a Western series inspired by Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, the movie, called Alias Smith and Jones. And when Peter Duell tragically took his own life, Roger Davis, who played Tate, he took over in the show.
Right.
After Pete Duell died. So yeah, very intense acting style.
Get him some Prozac or some blood pressure medicine.
Yeah, he's pretty neurotic. There was also, there's so many other characters that I'm probably forgetting, like Adam, who plays is he like a
I didn't like
Frankenstein
that arc.
character?
Yeah.
No.
The Adam stuff
There were some
bored the
arcs
hell
that
out.
didn't work.
Well, can I tell you guys my dream?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
My dream is to, when AI is advanced enough to take Dark Shadows and turn it into an episode of Seinfeld. Where Barnabas is on the stage talking about how fate has always been cruel to him, and like Jerry Seinfeld would, and then Quentin would be Kramer, Willie would be George, and Julia would be Elaine.
Yeah, that would be good. Yeah. You can have fun doing that with a number of series, right? Even Dark Shadows cast, pick some characters and have them be on Gilligan's Island.
Oh, yeah.
Willie would be Gilligan, right?
Oh yeah,
Professor
I
Stokes could be the skipper.
Yeah.
The skipper.
Oh gosh,
you could keep going with that. Now, I know we're coming up on an hour and a half. I just wanted to finish this off because I don't want to keep you guys too long.
Okay.
What is your favorite story? Like, out of all the story arcs, there's like 20 of them. Which one were you most engaged in and most fascinated with?
I would say for me it was 1897.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I would agree with Todd. It's the whole I Ching time travel thing, because
Mhm.
I really think that Frid and Selby and Grayson Hall, they were really hitting their strides. Particularly Frid, he had hit his stride as Barnabas. He was sublime by that point in the series as Barnabas.
Yeah.
Seriously, and they had such a good dynamic that it's hard to place any other arcs above that one.
I like that whole period, like right from the Quentin's ghost. They go back to 1796, then they're 1897. The Hand of Count Patafi. Those four right there were the most engaging to me.
Yeah.
And then after the Hand of Count Patafi, they get into the Leviathans.
Yes.
Which is it's creepy, but I think I just probably just didn't understand it because I had never really read anything Lovecraftian. But it's spooky, especially the young boy who played that little boy who played that creepy. Yeah, I thought he did a really good job.
Yeah, the little blonde kid before he ages and
before he grows into an adult. And how does it happen? Like it's creepy because it looks like it starts infecting all the family.
Yeah.
And controlling them. Like that's like my worst nightmare.
What do you guys think about the final episode, the actual last moments. Do you remember
I
that?
When they're coming back from the 1840s and
Well, the very when the series ends, there's nobody on set, and the
yeah,
camera's just going around the set, Collinwood and the various other sets and stuff,
yeah,
and they kind of it feels too soon, but it's almost it's kind of like that. No, don't end. It's like when you
right,
finish a book you really like.
yeah. You wish it could just keep
yeah.
going. Yeah,
I
no,
have
but
to rewatch it, but I think that's proof, though, what you said about they're saying the ratings were bad, that the ratings really weren't that bad because people
They
didn't want
weren't.
it to end.
They weren't
now
bad.
if you had the Melissa, let me ask you a question. If you had the opportunity to remake Dark Shadows, would you change anything, or would you keep it the same?
Um, I think I would try to keep that core essence to it. I mean, I think
Yeah,
you're gonna need if you're gonna make it, you're gonna need to update some things, but I would do exactly what they did by not bringing any modern politics, any modern
yeah,
Right.
music, any modern characters, use
right.
actors that maybe are not as well known, that are stage actors, and make it its own world. I would definitely keep that. You can do some different arcs and story arcs for
Yeah,
sure, but that love story arc is really important. And with
I tell you,
Angelique, it's a
you're,
driving force.
Oh yeah.
I would turn 1795 into its own show.
Oh, they
Like
could
it,
have. Yeah.
yeah. Like if it were like if this was a show today, like on I don't know Max or Prime or something like that,
Mhm.
and you only had 12 episodes per season, I would definitely just turn 1795 into its own show. That way, at the end when he's chained into it in the coffin, if you need to
Mhm.
recast, you can, because then and if whenever Barnabas goes back to being a good guy in the whatever modern era the second show would take place in, they should just go back to the they can go back in time, and it doesn't have to be so long, you know because
Yeah.
they go to 1795 a couple of times.
I would
Yeah,
do
they kinda
something.
return to it.
Yeah,
I would do something with that core group of protagonists. I would have Barnabas, Quentin, Julia, and Stokes um, uh, exploring the world of Quentin before we see him on Dark Shadows. Because remember, Quentin had those years that he was off in Egypt, the mysterious East, and he was a spy. At one
right,
point, it's revealed that he was doing some type of intelligence work and had these weird occult encounters. So,
right.
you
Oh,
know, I I think a movie where they would have explored that, kind of an occult, even more occultic Indiana Jones type of
yeah.
feel to it would
And
have been a fantastic film.
don't forget, Walter, he had after 1897, he had an alias for almost 70 something years. He was like Frederick Thorne.
Yeah. So
Right.
he
Yeah.
he was an agent. Interesting thing. But the last thing I'll say that I love every time you see it is when they're walking through the spooky dream world and they open the door and there's the giant skeleton head with the eyes. Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
As cheesy as that is, I love
Uh,
it. I tell
yeah, the
Malia, here
special
comes the
effects are a
skeleton.
gem. Well, the more I was just watching last night, I was watching Kiss of the Vampire. It's an old, I think it might be a Hammer horror film. But the more I watch
Yeah.
a lot of these old films, the more I realize like how much I don't want to call it's propaganda, yeah. But the more I realize how many of these messages about elite stuff have always been there and with us. And I don't know if I think the elites inspire it, and then they write about it, and then they exaggerate it, and then it might re-inspire everybody, and it's like this weird creation that keeps going on, and the more I watch these old movies I'm like, oh my god, MK Ultra, oh my god, there it is, oh, I can't unsee it now. That's one of the things that I've
It's
learned
like
from this. I
life
can't unsee it.
influencing. It's like life influencing art,
And art
influencing life.
influencing life.
Yeah.
That's what the that I had my guest on about the oh, what was that vampire phenomenon in England, the oh, it's in the graveyard there. darn it, my brain's going blank. It was the it's a famous cemetery in
Oh
London, and
yeah.
there was this big brouhaha about it in the 70s. But it was originally influenced by vampire movies of the time, and then they kept all this witchcraft up, and then they themselves, with these big media stories, Highgate Vampire, that's what it is,
The
they
Highgate
actually
Vampire.
started influencing the Hammer movies with their news stories. So it's an interesting twist about how things happen. How
Yeah.
we're all, even if we're evil, we're all co-creators here.
Yeah, exactly. We co-create each other's realities, don't we?
That's right. All right, guys. I just want to thank you guys for showing up on this show. It was really fun to do. I hope you guys all have a happy Halloween. You don't have to hang around, but just you can let everybody know where to find you or what's going on in the world of Walter Bosley and Todd Wood in the future.
Yeah. Well, you guys know where to find me right here in walterbosley.com, right there in the picture there. And that's where you can also find the books that Todd and I worked on together.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
Walter Bosley channel at YouTube. Todd has Killifornia. Tell them about that, Todd.
Yeah, but we talk about occult murder, and we talk about the spooky side of true crime, as if like true crime wasn't spooky enough. We go above and beyond, and yeah, and I hope you guys, if you're new to it, drop by, check it out, and we have a good old time.
And don't forget, at walterbosley.com right now, there's a huge 70% off everything sale that's going to go on through to January 1st. And so all the books at walterbosley.com/shop, 70% off. Go there now.
All right, guys. I'll pop you off. You don't have a hang around. I'm just going to tie it up, but thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, Melissa. Thanks for having us
guys.
on.
All right, guys. That was Dark Shadow Show, and I didn't get into it till later, but I encourage you guys can go on Tubi and watch it out. It's long. It's well extended. You're going to have to binge for a long time. You aren't just going to, Netflix and chill for a couple of weeks. You're going to Tubi and chill for a lot of months. It's quite engaging. There's well over 1,000 episodes, well over like 1,400. So remember, it's a soap opera. It was a daily show for like half an hour. Back in the 60s and early 70s. There's the movies, Night of Dark Shadows, and there's a second one. I think it's House of Dark Shadows. There's 2 movies. There's a whole bunch of stuff that you can go. They also did a redo. We never talked about that one. Dan Curtis redid one in the 90s. It's very limited. It didn't last long, but I think you can get it on DVD. It's out there. It's a redo of Dark Shadows. It was interesting, but nothing beats the original one with Jonathan Frid as the vampire and all these gothic, sci-fi, occult, strange narratives that I don't know. I think it's seeped into our system, and there could be some more to it than what we actually know to reality. But I thank you guys for joining me. I'm going to be streaming on Substack early in the morning tomorrow. I might just be watching some funny Halloween stuff. We're not going to be around next week. I'm going to be painting my house, so I have to take some time off. But there's also a stream on Sunday on Aleister Crowley at 3 p.m. Eastern in the afternoon. There'll be an article released on Substack next week, and a paid subscriber released on Substack. So you can go there at melissadawnharris.substack.com. And I'm just going to tie it out, and I hope you guys have a wonderful Halloween, and stay safe, guys. Stay safe. All right, everybody.